Yeah.
I think after the first of the year, they're gonna start looking to,
I see these.
out west Dakota.
Yeah.
They
You wanna move to Sycamore?
I had that house
I just wanna make sure you close. She just wants to be meeting for her. Yeah.
They've got a lot of work to do.
Okay, here we go.
This was where my folder was.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock. I would like to call this December 12th, 2023 City Planning Commission meeting to order. The first thing on anyone wishing to address the board, please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. First thing on the agenda is approval of minutes from November the 14th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions, comments, or concerns on the minutes? All in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are approved. Director Sheehan.
Mr. President, before we get into the agenda, we do have two continuances tonight. Item number 7 on your agenda, case P19-823. That is the development plan approval for 220 East Bell Avenue. And also item number 8, which is P20-823. That is the development plan approval for 324 East Bell Avenue. Both of those cases were continued during the plat meeting, so they will be heard next month. So if anyone in the audience is here for 220 or 324 East Bell Avenue, those cases will not be heard this evening. So the first case we have, Mr. President, is case P37Z23, petition of Sycamore Properties Partnership requesting the Kokomo City Plan Commission petition and recommend to the Kokomo Common Council for change in zone classification from office commercial to M2 general multifamily. This is at 515 West Sycamore Street.
Move for approval.
Second.
There's someone here to represent this case. Please come forward.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Brian Oakes. I am one of the two partners of Sycamore Properties. Alan Wilson, who's a lawyer in town as well, he and I own the building. And we've had an offer made from a third party to sell it, and they would like to turn it into multifamily housing.
Any questions from the board before we have staff report? Director Sheehan.
Yeah, staff report for case P37Z23, Sycamore Properties is requesting change in zone classification. This area is not located within an overlay. According to the City of Kokomo zoning ordinance, M2 allows for up to 16 units. Less than 4 units or greater than 17 units would require a special exception. According to the City of Kokomo zoning ordinance, the M2 zoning district is compatible with zonings that border this area. The adjoining property zones are to the north, R3, medium-density, single-family residential and institutional use; to the south, institutional use; to the east, R3, medium-density, single-family residential; and to the west, R4, urban residential. According to the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map, this section of West Sycamore Street is located in the area proposed for high-density residential. Typical high-density housing would be townhomes, cluster housing, apartments, and condominiums. Land use goals to encourage orderly and responsible development to promote health, safety, and quality of life of residents in the City of Kokomo while maintaining Kokomo as a leading community for affordable housing. Relevant land use objectives are to encourage adequate land for residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and recreational uses. Designate specific districts in the community suitable for residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and recreational uses. The goal of the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan Transportation Map is to enhance connections throughout the city for improved safety, function, and efficiency for all modes of transportation, including vehicular, bicycle, and pedestrian networks. According to the transportation map, this area of West Sycamore Street is defined as a minor arterial. A minor arterial is a street that collects and distributes traffic to and from collector and primary arterial streets. The traffic count for this area of West Sycamore is 8,008 cars per day. The staff desires that the board forward a favorable recommendation to the Kokomo Common Council.
Any questions from the board? Now we've had staff report. Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of case P37Z23, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion is approved. It will now go to the city council and will be presented there by Councilman Griecu.
Thank you all very much.
Next case, Mr. President, is case P 38Z23, petition of Bill Weldon requesting Kokomo City Plan Commission petition and recommended the Common Council for change in zone classification from agricultural rural residential within the ag overlay to LI Industrial Business Park, and this is at 2402 South Goyer Road and the adjoining lot to the south.
Move for approval?
Second.
Mr. Simmons here to represent this case. Please come forward.
Hello, good thing.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Paul Wyman, 1533 West Lincoln Road, Kokomo, Indiana, here this evening on behalf of Bill Weldon. So we're requesting the rezoning of this property. Believe it or not, Mr. Weldon has operated his business out of this property for, gosh, I don't know how many years, 20, 25 years or more. And somehow, many years ago, it was overlooked for a rezoning, and it's still currently zoned ag residential and agriculture. And so what we're trying to do is bring it up to a current zoning. And Mr. Weldon is interested in selling his property, and the folks that have been looking at it recently, in fact, some contractors on behalf of, they'll be doing some work for Star Plus Energy. When we verified the zoning for them, that's when we discovered it was zoned ag. So before they could purchase or move in or do anything, we had to come and get a rezoning so that the property could be used as it's been for years. So that's what we're here tonight to ask, is to change it to LI in the Ag OL, and we're requesting your approval this evening.
Any questions from the board before we have staff report? Director Sheehan.
Staff report for case P 38Z23, Paul Wyman of the Wyman Group on behalf of Bill Weldon is requested a change in zone classification for parcels shown below. These parcels have been the location for this existing business for several years. The adjoining properties zoned are as follows: to the north, AR agricultural and rural residential; to the south, agricultural; to the east, AR agricultural and rural residential; and to the west, HI high-intensity industrial heavy manufacturing. According to the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map, this section of South Goyer Road is an area proposed for US 31 agriculture. Under land use goals, to encourage orderly and responsible development, to promote health, safety, and quality of life for residents in the city of Kokomo, while maintaining Kokomo as a leading community for affordable housing. Relevant land use objectives are to encourage adequate land for residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and recreational uses. Designate specific districts in the community suitable for residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, and recreational uses. The goal of the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan Transportation Map is to enhance connection throughout the city for improved safety, function, and efficiency for all modes of transportation, including vehicular, bicycle, and pedestrian networks. According to the transportation map, this area of South Goyer Road is defined as a minor arterial. A minor arterial is a street that collects and distributes traffic to and from collector and primary arterial streets. The traffic count for this area of South Goyer Road is 8,142 cars. The staff desires that the board forward a favorable recommendation to the Kokomo Common Council based on the information presented by petitioner. I might add that, as Mr. Wyman said, this property has been used for a business for years and years and years, and basically what we're doing is just making it legal this evening.
Any questions from the board now that we've had staff report?
Is this planted differently, or we're rezoning the whole property, or just that building?
We're resenting the whole property, yes.
And the lot to the south.
Yes, correct.
Right here, right?
Any other questions from the board?
Do you know what the business you're going to propose?
I think he's talking. Paul, John had a question.
Do you know what business you're proposing, or are you just wanting to maintain as much flexibility?
We've had 3 businesses look at it.
We've had several look at it in the last month. 2 of them are coming back for a second visit. And this zoning would accommodate them, but we don't have this specific one yet. But both of them on the second visit are businesses that will be supporting the getting Star Plus Energy up and running.
Can you tell me what the use is currently or what it was historically?
Yeah, well done pots. Yeah. Go ahead, she has a question about fencing, I think.
I kind of have a concern. We live exactly.
I need your name and address, then we'll go.
Tanya Scott. We own the property 2314 South Goyer, right next door.
Thank you.
Literally, our fence is 5 feet from our house and 6 feet from where their building is at this point. Not only are we concerned about what's going to happen to our property values, if we've got some kind of business in there that is causing, takes the values down, but also we have a little simple wood fence between us because Bill owned the house that we live in and that. And so he worked out of his home, basically. And now he wants to turn it into commercial, and we're concerned because we have no privacy to that building whatsoever or anything that would be built on it. We've got a little 6-foot wood fence that wants to fall over. And where's that gonna lead us? And, is that gonna be something that we have no choice but to figure out how to build a bigger fence or how to stop night? I mean, my bedroom window is literally 11 feet from that area. And I'm concerned with what's gonna happen to us as homeowners right next door.
I feel like that would probably be more appropriately addressed at the development plan stage, whatever they might do.
Okay.
That's kind of why I asked Mr. Wyman if he knew what was gonna happen. If they do, my guess is, if they're gonna be working, this is gonna be probably a demolish and redevelop, which would require them to come back in front of this board and then we could actually detail out what would be required based on those distances.
Right,
Whether
and-
screening would be needed or things of that nature.
With the residential property next door, there would need to be some type of screening, yes.
Yes.
Between the commercial property and.
Right,
It
and we
would
are
be their
concerned,
responsibility to do, not.
because
not
the
yours.
well that we have for the front of our property is kind of conjoined. It sits on our easement drive, but it's partway onto their property as well. We've already had to deal with getting the well fixed once before because of flooding, and that's another concern, is that's what's gonna happen to the property lines.
I'm glad you shared that well with me. We didn't know that, but if we sell the property, there'll have to be a joint agreement with you.
Yeah, because it's also a joint driveway.
There'll have to be a joint, we'll get that in writing then for you.
Yeah, because I don't want to share a driveway with a business and a well that they could tap into or whatever, and we're getting billed for it.
Sure.
These are genuine concerns that I figured it was smart enough for me to come tonight.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm here.
You're doing the right thing.
Thank you.
You're doing the right thing and.
No, that well's good
absolutely.
information. I will make sure that I get with Bill and talk to him about a joint agreement on that.
Yeah, because when they came in, the electrical box actually sits, for the well, actually sits on their property side, but the well is on my property. It's kind of a concern.
Yep.
So, okay, so then will I be notified in the future of whatever's gonna happen?
Yeah, so if there is a sale, then we will notify you regarding the well and the drive, because there'll have to be something put in writing
Yeah.
on that. And that'll come back on a survey as well.
Yeah, 'cause
And
it's a
then if
split
business-
driveway.
If a business is gonna go in there and change that, he's right, they've gotta come back here. If they use it as the existing structure, they've been using it as that for
Yeah,
years. It
that
hasn't
wouldn't
bothered
be,
you.
as long as it's
Yeah.
not, if they're working at night, I definitely want some kind of barrier installed, because that's not fair to us.
And we can tell a company that too, that, you're next door, and if they are gonna have after business hours operations, to get with you and be respectful.
Okay, and you have Jackie's number.
I got Jackie's
So,
number, yeah, I
yeah.
talked to her on the phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so, okay, I think that's all I needed to know at this point then.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Paul.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the audience? Any questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of case P38Z23, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion is approved. It will now go to the city council and will be presented there by Councilman Riku. Thank you.
Next case, Mr. President, is case P11, P23, petition of Zach Fisher requesting approval of primary and final plat for Vine Barn subdivision. This is at 659 South 200 East and the adjoining lot to the south.
Move for approval?
Second.
Is there somebody here to represent this case? Please come forward.
Yes, Board. Jason Henderson, 108 Freedom Court, Kokomo, Indiana, 46902. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Fisher. What you have in front of you is a proposed two-lot subdivision, which is the Vine Barn, located at 659 South 200 East. We've received Drainage Board approval, and we have made it through the TAC Committee approval or a recommendation. We addressed some, couple things from the engineer's office, and that's reflected on the final plat. We did receive, on this case, we had to receive a Drainage Board approval as well, because it's on the fringes of your jurisdiction, and our outlet would be to the Cannon-Goyer regulated drain. But we're here this evening to seek primary approval of the plat. And I'm here to answer any questions that the board may have.
Any questions from the board?
Do you have the offsite easement recorded yet?
No, it will be recorded before the plat itself, and would have Mr. Sheeline hold on to that. The adjoiner, Salisbury's Quintana, he's in Colorado at the moment, but I've been in complete communication and have email from him that he will execute that, because it's going to benefit his farm drainage as well. So.
Obviously, we'll have to have that easement before we can get it recorded.
Oh, absolutely, yes, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Everything else for the plat good, John?
Yep. Yeah, they did, they sent the letter for Drainage Board approval. Those are my only two items, so.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? There's no questions from the board. I'll call for a vote. All in favor of case P11, P23, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion is approved.
Okay, next case, Mr. President, is case P17, A23.
Thank you, board. Have a good
Petition of Mike
Christmas.
Lewis requesting
Thank
development.
you.
I'm sorry, did I miss something?
That's it.
Okay. I'll start over. Case P17, A23, petition of Mike Lewis requesting development plan approval for AVIV Townhomes at 708 North Main. And Mr. Lewis is here to represent that case.
Move for approval?
Second.
Mike Lewis, 11035 Coolwinds Way, Fishers, Indiana. Yes, I'm requested approval for this. I think this was continued from last time.
Can you give us just a brief summary of what we're going to do there?
Yeah, so this is a apartment for 4 units, and then 4 parking spots in the rear.
Any questions from the board?
You said this was continued from the last time, is this because of the parking thing?
Yeah, you received BZA approval.
They
Yeah,
received
received
Yes.
continued because of BZA.
Yep.
BZA approved it. and then-
That was all
Was that
approved.
the only one? The only variance was
Nope.
for parking? What else?
Side easement,
I forget exactly what, but all.
they needed 2 feet for the side easement
Maybe
because the
unit
alley was
size
there.
slightly.
But all,
Yeah,
all
it was
of
the-
size
the,
was a
all the
slight
variances
reduction,
were
right?
approved.
But there was more than one.
Yeah, there was unit size, parking, and side yard setback.
Side yard
Side yard
setback,
setback,
yes.
yes, because of the alley.
is the unit size on these?
He just has 3,200 square feet, 800 square feet apiece.
No, I mean, 800 is our minimum, so they're right there at that threshold, so.
Do you have any information on the product that you're looking to put on this lot as far as conceptuals or layout, how that's gonna look to us?
2 stories, right?
Yes.
Are these brick and mortar apartments?
It's a combination of brick and hardy plank and then metal siding.
Everything for the plat, John, everything good?
Everything for the plat. I mean, the reason it was continued was because they hadn't got BZA approval yet. They've got that BZA approval now, so.
Any questions from the board? Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? No questions from the board. I'll call for a vote for case P17A23. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is approved. Director Sheila.
Next case is P18A23, petition of Mike Lewis requesting development plan approval for the AVIV townhomes. This is at 2324 North Diamond Street. Basically, it's the same process that we just approved on 708 North Main. And they were given variances by the Board of Zoning Appeals as well. And second reading was approved last night by City Council for rezoning. So they've been through the process.
Did I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions from the board? All concerned from the plat good?
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the audience? Please come forward, sir.
Yeah, my name is Frank Downs, and I got property up there, and I was concerned about,
I need an address for you, please.
it's 2222 Diamond Street, I'm sorry.
Please continue.
All right, I was concerned about is saying townhouses,
Just,
hometown homes, okay? And how many is building?
there's gonna be
One building, 4 units.
4 units in one building, 2-story building,
Okay,
just one building.
now according to what I've gathered on my information, it's, the property he's doing this on is for, it's not like rental property. It's like, it's just a small lot and stuff now, and he's gonna build this, and it's saying town homes for how many people's gonna live on that property. What I'm concerned about, and the parking, how they're gonna park.
There was a parking variance given last week at the BZA meeting. They have to have 8 parking spaces, two spaces per unit. So they can supply 4 parking spaces. So they were given a variance of 4 spaces by the Board of Zoning Appeals.
And those will be off of the alley.
But there's going to be one building, 4 units, and both units are around 800 square feet per unit, correct?
Just in one car per unit?
Yep, correct.
I don't know, I just don't see that feasible in that lot. You know, if you're gonna build there's gonna be 4 people living there, 4 cars and stuff, I don't see that feasible on that lot.
There's room to do it, sir. It's been checked out. There's room to do it. There wasn't room to put 8 parking spaces, but there was room to put 4.
Well, I know according to, when I put my place up over there, you had to be 50 foot back off the center of the road.
That's no longer a requirement. It may have been when you put it up, but it's no longer that requirement.
It's not that way no more.
No, sir. Not, there's a requirement, but it's not 50 feet.
Well, when I put my place up, they told me I had to be back 50 foot off the center of the road, okay? That's where I was going by.
Yeah, right, and those rules have changed. I mean, maybe as recently as 2017,
I
those
think it
rules
was
have changed.
16 or 17, yes.
And then you had to be so many feet from the center of the alley. Like 15 feet? Is that still that?
Yes, sir. We checked all that out. Yes, sir. Their biggest issue was the parking because they could not supply the 8 spots, but they were able to supply 4.
guess that's about all I got to say then.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Any questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of case P18A23, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion is approved.
And as was said earlier, the next two cases, items 7 and 8, have been continued. So the last item we have is, TJ was going to take care of this, but since he's sick tonight, I'll do my best. We've had an issue in our office for several years where those of you who've been on the board for a length of time, we approve site plans, and we've had nothing in our ordinance that allowed those site plans to go away. They're always there once they're approved. And we just had an issue here a few weeks ago where someone has came back that we approved a site plan in 2016, and now they want to build, so we had to go through a lot of, well, John had to go through a lot of stuff, not really us, to get it resolved. And so we kind of put our heads together. We felt like it was time, because that's a little, in my opinion, a little ridiculous that we can allow site plans to stay on the books for that long. So this is an amendment to the zoning ordinance to put a 2-year limit on once this board approves a site plan. If it's not started, or if they don't have a good reason not to start it, and that can be up at the discretion to the plan commission director, they would have to start the process all over and come back before this board again. I think that makes perfect sense, and I think the 2-year personally is a good number. And I think it stops that, and it saves John's office and our office a lot of problems in the future, hopefully. So,
Well,
Can I have a motion before we have a question? please?
second.
Okay, go ahead, John, please.
Well, it makes it, when you transition, so for example, Kerry approved this. I didn't know anything about it. And then they come back and they want a building permit. But it was given conditional approval on something that Kerry wanted, and I didn't know anything about it. So I made him change it, because that's just, I didn't like the way it was approved the first time, so I made him change it. So it would have been a lot easier if I could have just said, just start over. Just bring it back. But, so that's where we got to where we are now. I'm in complete agreement that we need to put that limit on there.
and this isn't the first time we've had the problems. We have some storage facilities out there that the whole lot was approved.
Right.
A few years ago. They built a few on it, so they can come back basically any time. Now with our new standards, they would have to come up with the new standards, but still, it just seemed a little ridiculous that we didn't have a stopping point for a site plan. So I think this just makes it easier for everybody, and it'll hopefully keep our development moving quicker. And if it doesn't, they'll have to come back before this board and start all over again.
Right.
So,
Just looking at the growth we're experiencing, things change in a period of
Absolutely.
years,
Yeah,
so
right,
Absolutely.
exactly.
you can't expect to come back 5 or 10 years later and
contours can change, drainage can change, absolutely, lots of things
Well,
can
and
change.
requirements can change.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you wait 10 years, I mean, you may be 2 or 3, ordinances removed from what you were approved, so it's kind of a sticky, it's a slippery slope, so.
I agree.
Any other questions from the board?
And this will go to the common council for approval if it goes through here. So,
Any questions from the audience? Hearing none,
He says, nope.
gotta ask it.
you do.
Where's the case number?
P36Z23.
All in favor of case P36Z23, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries, and it will go to the common council and be presented there by Councilman Grieco.
Thank you, everyone.
Do we have claims?
You want claims?
Okay.
Claims. I move to approve claims
in the amount of $24,407.56.
Second.
Any questions, comments, or concerns on the shoot,
Claims.
claims? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in approval, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, claims are approved. Anything under new business, Director Seaver?
I have no other business tonight.
That's all we got, folks. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.